welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbein, joined every Friday by my main man, Derek Bell. I can't seem to get these hands down anymore, but we'll get back on track. Anyways, it's week 11. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming to town. It looks like a great opportunity for the Steelers to build a winning streak and kind of kick this second half into gear. On top of that, they're getting Minkah Fitzpatrick back, which is the best news possible for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. It's been snowing here for 2 days. I hate it. I'm sure it's worse there because it always seems to be worse there. But really, the question I have to ask to start this one off. First, how you feeling, my friend? Second, do you not wish that they played that game in Buffalo? Because it would have been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, a little under the weather on my end, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited to watch some football. There's going to be a great college football slate tomorrow, at least for me, in my perspective, for the draft. And then I'm excited about this Steelers-Bengals game on Sunday. Really glad that they moved it out of prime time so that I can watch it before I have to go into work.
Yeah, no
I'm
doubt.
extremely excited about that. But, yeah, feeling good. No snow here yet. We did have some snow earlier in the week, but no snow right now. It actually feels like okay. The sun's shining, so that's nice.
Wow, it's so cold outside that you don't leave your house. You know what I mean? Like when you're just like, oh, what's the weather? It's 26. Nah, I don't gotta go anywhere. That's where it is right now. It's terrible, and then it's just snowing every like 45 seconds. But it's all right. It'll be good. It gets me like pumped to walk to a game freezing cold, because I get to sip a warm coffee and I'm like, this is football weather. There's still people slamming beers in t-shirts at every hour of the morning as it's warming up. But heading into the game, I think there was one question mark and one question mark only. And it felt like the first time all season that the Pittsburgh Steelers were looking at a game where there wasn't 10 questions and 4 injuries and we had no idea what was going to happen. You looked at one name, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Is he going to come back 1 week removed from an appendectomy? The answer is yes. Apparently, he's been cleared by a doctor. He's not on the injury report. He practiced at full capacity the last 2 days. This is the first time since week 1, him and TJ Watt are on the field together. How big is this game for the Pittsburgh Steelers? How good can this group really get?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the question that I think you have to ask right now. This is the first time that the Steelers have had really all of their key guys on the field at the same time. And not just their key guys, but, you know, we saw DeMonte KZ play a big factor in last week's game. You know, he had a really impressive game from my perspective when I was watching the film. And then you get TJ back. I thought TJ last week, you know, still looked like the same guy. I didn't notice any, like, specific limitations. He had a tough matchup against Ryan Ramczyk, but I thought he still made plays, particularly in the run game. And then getting Minkah back is going to give them the capability to go with those 3 safety sets, some of the stuff that they've talked about for the last, you know, several months, even dating back to training camp, preseason, stuff like that. So there's a lot to be excited about. I think that this is a good litmus test for the defense, too, against the Bengals team, you know, that is like top 5, top 6 in EPA per play, success rate, really good, well-balanced unit. Their run game has kind of come around a little bit of late with Joe Mixon. He's playing a little bit better ball after getting off to a really, really slow start to the season.
Yeah, it's huge for the Steelers. Joe Mixon, I'm excited. We're going to get into the Bengals offense here in a little bit and how they've adjusted. I'd like to see if the Steelers can hold Joe Mixon. They usually do, which is a positive sign for the Steelers. But you're right. Minkah coming back it now opens up a better set of questions. How good can the 3 safety man look? How good can the 3 safety look? How good can the defensive backfield be now that there's an actual pass rush? How good can Alex Highsmith get in the second half of the season? Because it took him 1 game to get 2 sacks, and that's the second time TJ's played this season, the second time he's had multiple sack games, I'm pretty sure. There's just the potential is there. It's certainly there. You look back on Sunday, TJ and KZ played, like you said. You thought KZ had a good game. I did too. Came up with an interception. The dude is the most hyped human being I've ever met in my life. Like, I love every second of it because he's a really nice dude. What did you see when you watched the film? When you went back and watched the defense, what was your takeaways of those two?
I thought that KZ just looked extremely confident and really athletic. I was not. I guess when I watched him after they signed him to the deal, I remember him being extremely optimistic, and I thought that was a great play to come up with that interception. I don't think people understand how fast those things happen, like the deflections and stuff like that. That ball's coming in pretty hot, gets deflected. He's only a couple feet away and is able to really make that interception pretty easily. I thought he was really confident, and especially for a guy that hasn't played a lot of ball in this system, I thought that he was in. Like, he didn't have any coverage bust that I was seeing.
Yeah.
He also, one of the things that I thought he did a really good job of, and maybe that's some things that they can take advantage of with him in the back end. He did a great job disguising his coverages. So the Steelers, they like to do a lot of like pre-snap disguises in the back end where you're trying to confuse the quarterback if you're playing, single high or two high safeties. He did a really good job disguising his coverages until like the very last minute. And that makes it really difficult for the quarterback to kind of get a read on things, on where he needs to go with the football post snap. In terms of TJ, still looked really good. I was kind of looking to see if he was going to really test like a bull rush or anything like that, to where you could really tell if his strength was being impacted. But he's really more of a speed rusher anyway, so I didn't see a ton of that. But I thought just taking on blocks in the run game, particularly from tight ends, I mean, he still couldn't be blocked, which I don't know why New Orleans kept trying to spam that.
It didn't make any sense. With a tight end that used to play wide receiver, like, he's not a natural tight end. This guy is bulked up to try to play on the offensive line. He's just a pass catcher. They're like, go block TJ Watt. That's cool.
Yeah, but I thought he was good. I really did. And then the thing with Watt, and this isn't, some people use this to kind of discredit Alex Highsmith, and I just don't really think that those people understand that you don't get 8.5 sacks on just being able to like get one-on-ones all the time.
No.
Like, you still have to win those one-on-ones. I mean, there's a lot of edge rushers in the league that can get one-on-one spam their way, and they're not going to win enough to get 8.5 sacks. But with TJ, even last
right side,
you're
even going up against the best.
Yeah, you're going to get up against left tackles, and that's where teams are going to put their best pass blockers. So even last week with Watt coming off of that injury, they still showed him a ton of respect, which was expected. They were spamming tight ends to his direction, giving the right tackle chips. They were leaving some bags to chip out as well. So they were even sliding protections his way as well. So I think that that's going to be key, like, moving forward, because you're going to get a lot more one-on-ones to the other side of the line, which is going to mean really good opportunities for Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. What do you think? You look at Alex Highsmith right now, he's easily going to hit double digits if everything goes smoothly for the rest of the season. But his ceiling, like, if you go one-on-one at some point, maybe this is crazy to ask, honestly, but at some point, if you're an offense, do you just say, all right, well, we're going to have to just switch up who takes the double teams and at some point leave TJ Watt open? Because, like, you can't, if Alex Highsmith is coming up with 2 sacks a game, what's the difference? Like, I get it. The left tackle is your better pass blocker, but still, like, if you're coming up with 2 sacks a game, you got to find a way to stop him. And he was slowing down in the double teams when TJ wasn't there.
Yeah, well, what that does is, like, when you're having those tight ends chip, or you're having to go to like more max protection looks, it's either going to give you less eligibles to throw the football to if you're the quarterback, or it's going to mean there's going to be some type of delay in getting those eligibles out into their route. So there's an impact, not just for what it does for one another, but it's also an impact for how that helps the secondary, because if guys aren't able to get into their route as quickly, guys up the middle can win. You're buying your secondary a little bit more time, which is huge. So this is to me where you're looking for, okay, this is the highest paid defense in the league. You have everyone healthy. I mean, really, if you look around the league, the Steelers are probably the healthiest team in the league right now. I mean, I was just looking through their roster and their injury report, comparing them to how some of the AFC squads are looking. Kansas City, they're down like 4 receivers potentially this weekend. The Steelers have basically all of their starters healthy. I mean, Akilla Witherspoon is really their only guy that's not in the lineup. He doesn't even count
at this point. It's been 5 weeks. It doesn't count.
Yeah, which, I mean, at this point, I don't know that there's been that big of a drop-off, because he hasn't been great when he's been in the lineup, whether that's been health-related or not. So this is where you have to start saying, okay, we got the highest paid defense in the league, it's time to start winning games and trying to enforce our will a little bit on that side of the ball.
Yeah, this is the perfect time for all of this to happen. Like if this happened in Buffalo, you're not going to get the confidence boost because you're probably still going to lose and it's probably still going to be a little bit ugly. But you come in here week 11, Cincinnati at home, you get TJ Watt back, so you already get the momentum flowing from a New Orleans win. The crowd's going to be into it. It's going to be cold outside. I mean, I don't know. Like, this is the perfect time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get healthy. Like you said, it's the healthiest they've been all season. This is the first time we will see who we all expected the 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers to be. Like, this is the first time. You go to, I mean, I guess they didn't have every single piece when Kenny and Mitch were actually battling it out, but pretty much everybody wanted Kenny to be that starting quarterback. Now he's the starting quarterback. You have all of your pieces together outside of, I guess, Akella Witherspoon and probably Calvin Austin, who was assumed in there. It's crazy actually to think that it took 11 weeks, but they're here. And I think they could be really, really good, but they have a challenge. Obviously the Bengals are no easy win. Never are. I mean, even when five turnovers, 7 sacks, 2 missed field goals by Chris Boswell, which were matched, and they barely won. So it's going to be difficult at home. And you were telling me before, alarm's going off here.
Nice.
My good old 4:15 alarm for some reason. You were telling me before the podcast, you watch the film, they're a different team. And you expect them to be a different team. But even without Jamar Chase, you look at this team, what do you see?
Yeah, this offense is more – it looks more like their offense from last season than it did in week 1 when the Steelers played them. Zach Taylor at the beginning of the season was trying to run a lot of his wide zone, under center type of stuff with Joe Mixon, get that running game going, play action. That's really not what the Bengals offensive line does really well. It's also not what Joe Burrow does really well. So Burrow's a guy who doesn't like play action at all. He's not very good at it. He really prefers to be in the gun, spread teams out. That's what he did extremely well at LSU. And that's kind of why they've adapted their playbook to fit his skill set.
Yeah.
Now, this offense that we've been seeing really since that point, about like week 3, week 4 was when you started seeing this shift, was they went to more of a gap running scheme. So you're seeing a lot more duo, a lot more power from them. I mean, they're still running inside zone, but they're having more success getting back to that gun run duo kind of philosophy. And then you just look at the receivers. Obviously, no Jamar Chase is a huge deal because no disrespect to Joe Burrow, who I think is a good quarterback in the league. I really believe that Jamar Chase is kind of the engine that makes that offense go because his speed and how electric he is when he gets the football forces you to play a certain way against them. And I think that you can't sit in single high really at all against Chase. You have to kind of cloud the coverage his way. But without him, that kind of changes a little bit. Now, Burrow will still push the ball down the field. T. Higgins is a really good receiver. He probably doesn't get as much national media love because of who he plays beside, but Higgins is a little bit different. He can still win vertically, but he's more of a ball winner rather than like a speed guy. So it's going to be interesting to see how different their offense looks this week against the Steelers defense that's going to be healthy.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. I mean, just like you said, week 1, there was no T. Higgins, huge. And T. Higgins is no stranger to the Pittsburgh Steelers. What did he put up last year? 3 touchdowns against James Pierre. It was an absolute an embarrassment for the Steelers, but an absolutely dominant performance for T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd's been doing this forever. My question is, how do you stop it? Like you obviously have to change things, but it's been shown to, like you said, you said this to me before we started recording. The Bengals are either really good or really, really bad. And you see that in their losses, like 19-17 against Baltimore is a typical AFC North game. 23-20 against the Steelers is a typical AFC North game. That one was obviously to the max. And then you got a 3-point loss to Dallas at the beginning of the season. That is whatever. But then you have an absolute blowout, 32-13 against Jacoby Brissett and the Browns. that just didn't make any sense. You know, you watch that game and the offensive line looked like the offensive line of last year. There was no running game. Joe Burrow couldn't get confident. The defense looked atrocious. How do you get that Bengals? Like what went right for Cleveland to get that Bengals team?
They are a really hot and cold team. Like, and I think that some of that is Burrow related, and then some of that I think is just that they play a very specific style of football and they want to play their way. And if you can force them out of their way, you can have some success. The other part of that is I don't know that the Steelers are going to get 5 turnovers this week, but they have to
probably not.
Like, in order for them to win this game, they have to get a couple, because the Bengals defense, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, is it's a good unit. It's not elite by any means, but it's really solid. They're well coached. They don't make a ton of mistakes, other than Eli Apple and his occasional mishap on the outside. I did notice that a little bit on film. But the big thing is the Bengals are one of those teams that just try to impose their own will. They want to play in 11 personnel. They want to push the ball down the field. They want to throw all over you, get big plays down the field. If you play single high, he's going to take the goal balls on the sidelines. You just have to be able to withstand that. In terms of Cleveland, it's been a little bit since I watched that game. I watched that game live. I think that Cleveland probably just matched up with them extremely well. For one, they've had Cincinnati's number for quite a while now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I believe they've beat them like 5 of the last however many times. Like, they've actually done really well against them. Somebody can fact check me on that in the comments. But
yeah, wow.
I think with Cleveland, they've invested heavily in their secondary. You look at Denzel Ward, he's a top pick. Greg Newsome, first-round pick. Martin Emerson, he was a third-round pick this year. Greedy Williams, third-round pick. So they have a lot of guys in the secondary that they can put up, and they feel comfortable with them matching up in one-on-one situations. The Steelers, obviously kind of the inverse of that. They don't invest in their corners, and that, like, we've seen those situations where they've had those one-on-one matchups last year dating back to James Pierre, T. Higgins, things like that. And even in the first matchup, they kind of let Jamar Chase go off. I don't know what he finished with, but it was well over 100 yards. He had at least 1 touchdown.
Yeah, he beat Cam a lot at the end there, though. That was a lot of him on Sutton in the third and fourth quarter where he was just outmanning him. If he's not there, though, do they match up better? Like, I mean, much less athletic, but they're not moving Cam inside. So, like, we don't really, like, it's Arthur Millette, who's surprised, but not really that good. But I think Cam's a much better matchup against a guy like T. Higgins than he is Jamar Chase, obviously.
I think, Cam has some athletic limitations that kind of come with his game. But I do think that Sutton's been their overall most consistent corner on the outside. And that's honestly why I think they have shied away from moving him inside, is because of how consistent he's been. I think really the rest of the corners on the outside have been really up and down. Obviously, Witherspoon hasn't played well. I think he was obviously less than healthy in the Philly game, and for whatever reason, they kept putting him on an island out there one-on-one with the post player without safety help over the top. That was bizarre to me. But I think he's been kind of down. Even Levi Wallace last week, I thought he was a little up and down, maybe more than like Twitter kind of acknowledged.
You come up with an interception here.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a good test. Tyler Boyd, still a good player. T. Higgins, I think, is really underrated. So Michael Thomas is just kind of a guy to me, but we'll see. He's going to get a lot of run this weekend. Somebody saying in the comments, 9-1 in the last 10 games, 5-game win streak for the Browns. Yeah, I remembered the number 5. I remember the number 5. And like I said, that's just, I think, more of a matchup thing. I think that the Browns have kind of ran all over them a little bit too. One of the good things, for the Bengals this week, which I think is going to be interesting, is the Steelers ran the ball better last week than they probably have in, years. I don't know.
I was going to say long time.
They, the Bengals are getting back DJ Reader, who has been hurt for like 2 months now.
I was going to say most of the season.
Yeah, he's really been hurt for the last like 6-7 weeks at least. And before he got hurt, he was playing unbelievable football, especially against the run. So they're going to have Reader back. That's going to be in a big matchup for, the interior offensive line, Mason Cole, James Daniels, Kevin Dotson, who I thought struggled again last week. So that's going to be a matchup for sure to keep an eye on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a big one. I didn't realize he was coming back. That's definitely a name to
I
watch. I
think
don't
he
know.
is. I think he is.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that one. We do want to get to the offense. Kenny Pickett, I think, in my opinion, the best game he's had as a full-time starter, and it really even wasn't that impressive, but the one stat stands out. And then I want to talk about Cincinnati's defense, but first we got a word from our boys over at True Classic. The holidays are almost here, and there is plenty of t-shirt cheer thanks to our sponsor, True Classic Tees. Fellas, we have the perfect gift for your wish list. True Classic Tees are a gift for you, for her, and a great present for any guy in your life. True Classic is on a mission to maximize men's confidence by making them look good. Trust me when I say that this is a gift that the ladies will appreciate too. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men look great in their tees, and now you can save big while you do so as well. Get 25% off True Classics with my exclusive link, trueclassic.com/allsteelers. And the discount doesn't stop there. You'll save even more during the site-wide sale. Support our show and check them out at trueclassic.com/allsteelers. If you're rocking a Santa bod, True Classic might be the Christmas miracle you've been waiting for. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on certain body types. Well, True Classic's team designed t-shirts to make the fellas of all sizes out there feel confident in their clothing. Me and Derek contest to this all the time. These tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. This is a desirable look that you can achieve with any body type. They give you the wide shoulder and tapered bottom look that we're all looking for, and the quality of the t-shirts are elite. From going to the gym to your first date, there's no better look than a fresh tee. They offer other menswear as well, ranging from polos to workout shirts to even boxer briefs designed to keep your boys feeling nice and comfortable. They make it super easy to build out your wardrobe with their elite True Classic quality. They have a pack builder on their website where you can customize the bundle you want and save even more. And for my big fellas out there, they have long options for the tall guys and up to 3XL. True Classic also makes the perfect gift or stocking stuffer for all the men in your life. Dad bods, got you covered. Rip bods, you know it. Your average Joes, yes, sir. Get yourself or someone you love the number one gift on Santa's list. It's a gift for you, but really a gift for her. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com/allsteelers. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at trueclassic.com/allsteelers. Santa won't be the only thing saying thanks to True Classic. All right. So I'm actually rocking a True Classic t-shirt right now. I don't rock anything but I think my phone tried to go off again while we were doing that. I'm starting to worry that I'm like missing something. I had a bunch of alarms set for something that I cannot remember is about to go on at 4:30 on a Friday when I'm always doing this. Like I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Do you know Malik Wright, a guy on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, that smile tells me yes.
I have ran across him. We don't follow each other, but I do know who he is. Y'all gotta, I've seen a lot of this on my timeline. Y'all gotta understand that Kenny's gonna catch heat, man. People around the national media or like draft Twitter, they hated this quarterback class. The Steelers took the only guy in the first, 70 picks, and Kenny, his numbers are not good right now. So
no, he stinks.
Everyone's preconceived notions are still there, and they're going to continue to say he's not good until he proves otherwise. So like, especially as it comes from like other fan bases and stuff, you just got to let that rock, like, and hope that Kenny proves them wrong. I mean, I think that last week was a small step forward because Kenny played better than he did against the Eagles, which was a disaster. So,
oh yeah, gosh, yeah. He's played better than he played all season. He went, what do you go, 18 for 30, and I still thought it was his best game just because he didn't turn the ball over. And to me alone, that's all I was looking for. Just don't protect the football. Don't try to, because one, that tells you he's not trying to do too much, which is huge because he was definitely trying to do too much. And two, it tells you that he's listening to what people are saying and he's able to process that. because you could tell a lot of his throws were like the opening throw behind George Pickens. That's the first one that stands out to many people. That's just a physical limitation thing. Like, that's just who he is right now. He's that guy that's going to throw behind you. I'm okay with that for right now, I guess, as long as he's not turning the ball over, because I think that's step one. That being said, though, you watched Kenny's game last week. I mean, I'm sure you watched it a dozen times. Was it a good game? Is my analysis of this correct, or are you thinking he's still kind of stunk?
Good? No. Better than Philly? Yes. I would definitely agree. So, yeah, I mean, the first half was obviously rocky. Just the deep ball accuracy is going to be something that really needs to improve going forward. I mean, anything past 10 yards has been kind of an adventure so far this season. You even saw that. I think he was 1 for 5 on Sunday on throws that went 15 yards down the field.
Yeah, he was.
So, and that it actually was 1 for 6, because remember, he got that bailout passer, or the roughing the passer call, and that ball was nowhere close. So the good news is the Steelers have winners on the outside. And I kind of put this in my film takeaway this week. Deontay dominated on Sunday, which I kind of expected him to do, because I didn't think the Saints cornerbacks were that good. But Pickens also looked really good. The Steelers have 2 ballers on the outside that can beat press coverage, and that's going to be huge. The thing with Kenny is going to be, like, when he gets those single high, middle field close looks, he's going to have to start pushing the ball down the field, and he's going to have to start giving these guys some chances to make plays. Pickens in particular, I'm of the opinion that they need to give him 2 deep balls a game, even if he's open or not.
100%.
Because he literally has been winning on the outside 1 to 2 times a game anyway, where he's wide open. But he's one of those guys who's just a ball winner with the ball in the air. So I think you got to give him some chances to make plays on those 50-50 balls, and let him kind of show what he can do. I think that's hopefully going to be a sign of things to move forward. I was just surprised, or not surprised, but I was really happy that Kenny put the ball in front of Deontay on the deep ball. That was the first time we've really seen that. Like, he's underthrown / tried to throw everything back shoulder really the whole time that he's been a starter, and really dating back to the preseason. So I was happy that he let that one rip. I did think that in quick game, he was a lot more decisive this past weekend than he was against the Eagles. Took better care of the ball. I only saw 1 turnover-worthy throw, I thought, and just a couple bad decisions.
What was the turnover-worthy throw?
The one on the first drive, that ball's late. That should have been picked.
What one?
The out route to Pat. He was running.
Oh, yes.
He was running an option route, but the ball is late. And that's the thing with Kenny. Kenny doesn't have the arm to get away with that stuff, especially like he's going to have to be on time all the time. And that's the thing that I want to see from him. I think a lot of people are going to, and I get that turnovers are really going to be detrimental to how many games the Steelers are going to win this year, because you can't turn the ball over when you're not that great of an offense. But for me, what I want to see moving forward is him start to test some of these windows against zone coverage, because you're really seeing him not pull the trigger on a lot of these in-breaking throws against zone. And his eyes are in the right place, and he's set, and he's reading things out the right way, even though it's sometimes a little bit late. He just doesn't want to pull the trigger. And I think some of that could be coaching. Maybe they're drilling into him like, hey, don't put the ball in harm's way no matter what you do. Some of that could be confidence in his arm strength, especially after he got picked on that zone throw against the Dolphins.
True.
Javon Holland, that interception was notable. He was a little bit late trying to fit a ball into a window. So I'm really interested to see if that's going to change moving forward. To me, I need to figure out if he can make those throws. It's not nearly as much about the turnover or the box score numbers. I need to see if he can do that. That's what I want to see.
So are you willing to have him throw interceptions if he does make more of those throws? Like, say it's just like a bad read. Like, you shouldn't have thrown that ball, but he got it into a window.
I think there's a difference between processing correctly and having your eyes in the right place and trying to get the ball where it needs to go and trying to play hero ball.
Yeah.
The examples that I'm talking about that I've kind of pointed out on Twitter have been examples where he gets to the top of his drop, eyes in the right spot, in breaker, and we're not pulling the trigger. And
okay.
I think when you're a young quarterback, part of being a rookie in the league is really figuring out your limitations and what you can get away with. Like you see that all the time, like really with bigger arm quarterbacks, they try to fit balls into windows that just aren't there. Like I don't anticipate Kenny to do that because he doesn't have the arm to live in that world at this level. But I do think that he has the arm to make some of these zone throws that he's pulling down right now. And I would just rather see him start to figure out that process of what he can do, what he can't do at this level.
All right. I like that. And I agree. I do agree. I think at the same time, the Steelers are going to drill into his head, just like you said, don't turn the ball over. Just like it's like I've started to realize something when it comes to Robert Spillane, because we do talk a lot of smack on Robert Spillane on this show, but I think it's deserved until I started like really watching. And I think I've realized that the coaches are telling this man to just be as safe as humanly possible when it comes to defending the pass.
I did think it was really funny because one of the things when I was doing that Kamara film room last week, I was sitting there watching the games. I'm like, they're not using him with Sean Payton. They used to spam these option routes with him either out of the backfield or in the slot.
Yeah.
Like, why am I not seeing any of this? First possession of the game last week, they went after Spillane twice on option routes.
Yes.
And I was like, man, that's messed up. They're going after Spillane like that. They put that into the game plan this week. So
of course, but that's what you do. And the Steelers understand that. So they're trying to play it safe. And I think it's the same thing with Kenny. Like they've realized that they put themselves in a position to succeed if Kenny doesn't turn the ball over. So they're just like, okay, look we don't really care what the steps are. You'll figure out the steps. You got to do that on your own. Don't turn the ball over. I would like to see him make those throws. I think that's the next step, is he does have to start to figure out where that potential is, what he can do. So what do you think he could do? Like I think that's the biggest question, is when it comes to Kenny Pickett, it's not a intangible thing. And I think he'll figure out how to slow the game down enough to not make bad decisions. But do you think that his ceiling is higher than figuring out these throws? Because it took him, 4 years in college. You go back and watch Kenny Pickett in college. He made a lot of the same mistakes. The game was too fast. He couldn't make throws because he was really, really late on reads for like 3.5 years. And then the first senior year, he looked good. The second senior year, it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Is that what we're looking at again here? Or do you see it? Okay, it'll be processed better.
Well, the thing is, the Steelers aren't going to wait 4 years for Kenny.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, can he do that in a season? Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen this year. I think you want to see that gradual progression. But, really, those are the things that I'm looking forward to in terms of what windows can he start to process a little bit quicker and make these throws that are available to him in the offense. Now, the Steelers aren't sitting here scheming a bunch of wide open guys open on a weekly basis, but there was a lot of wide open.
I was going to say there was a lot of wide open receivers last week.
We got to give Canada / Mike Sullivan a little clap, because there was a lot of guys running free last week. And
all right, do you believe that? Do you believe that Matt Canada?
I don't know.
I don't know. Look, I've been conspiracy theory time. You know me, dude. It goes as deep as Deebo Samuels was on the trade market, and I was like, let's make it happen. The Steelers could do this. Let's figure it out. But I just don't like.
It was different.
I don't want to believe
it looked different last week. And honestly, I was really excited about that because I've seen some bad offenses take strides off of those bye weeks or mini bye weeks after like a Thursday night game and make drastic changes. They ran more crossing routes, man, and they didn't have a ton of success on them because of errant throws or him not reading the right receiver, but they had guys open. And that's the thing that I think you want to see. At least you're giving the quarterback answers to the test. You're giving him options to beat the defense. Whereas I don't know if that has been the case. That definitely hasn't been the case for the large majority of Canada's career. So
No, the whole
another good thing to point out in terms of like just the Bengals defense matchup.
yes.
They do. Chidobe Awuzie got put on IR, and he just had surgery for a torn ACL. So that's going to mean that we're going to see Cam Taylor-Britt, rookie cornerback, out on the boundary this weekend.
That was your dude, though, coming out of Nebraska,
Yeah.
or is he Tennessee?
Nebraska, I believe. But he's a real physical guy. But I do think that they'll have some matchups again on the outside. I'm excited to see what they can do. And like I said, Eli Apple's coverage numbers this year aren't completely horrible. They're actually a lot better than I would have anticipated. He has a passer rating against of like 70.4 according to SIS, but he's averaging 9.2 yards per attempt. And I think that there's been some big plays on film that hasn't really been materialized because the ball's been off, or like they've gotten pressure up front, or it's went other ways. So I definitely think there's going to be some big play opportunities this week. It really just depends on, can the Steelers, take those shots down the field when they get those single high looks, kind of like what they got last week. Can they run the ball enough to keep the Bengals out of those two high safety shells? Those are things that, that you're going to have to look forward to this week.
Yeah, but that's huge. I mean, that's huge, because if you could, just like you said, you want to see George Pickens go deep at least twice. George Pickens would toast and butter and then eat Eli Apple. It would be ridiculous. And then you got to put him on a rookie. There's no way he's getting stopped by a rookie. You put Deontay Johnson on a rookie, it's over before it started. And then George Pickens or Deontay on Eli Apple. I mean, it's Eli Apple, man. There's never anything good to say about Eli Apple. But that is huge. I didn't realize that was a thing. Did Jesse Bates play in week 1?
Yeah.
He did?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure.
I couldn't remember if that was the only one. DJ Reader coming back's big. What else you see from the Bengals defense when you look at these guys?
Yeah, I mean, DJ Reader, I think that's a huge thing in this week's game, especially, the Steelers really need to run the ball. I think part of the reason why Kenny looked a little bit more comfortable last week is because they weren't asking him to throw the ball 50 times. And I think that's part of the issue when you have a struggling quarterback and you just keep shoveling more responsibility and shoveling more attempts his way. It's not great. You don't want to do that. So I think that the fact that they were able to take some of the load off of his shoulders was huge. I think it's a big matchup, obviously, like I said, outside of cornerback. You got a rookie out there. They're going to have to try to expose that, take some shots down the field. I do think that the pass rush is a little bit concerning. Dan Moore did a pretty good job in week 1 against Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson's probably not having the year that he was having last year, but that's still going to be a huge matchup. Chooks, I thought, was a little bit up and down last week too. He's going to be up against Sam Hubbard and then occasionally, Hendrickson as well. So those are all huge matchups. Since he's linebackers, Logan Wilson covers pretty well in space. Jermaine Pratt, he's a physical dude. So I'm interested to see this matchup. The Bengals, it's a top 10 defense according to most metrics. So it's going to be a good test. It's really it's probably the best defense that they're going to play the rest of the year, right? I mean, I would assume. Pretty sure by the numbers.
I would say by the numbers, most likely, because
the
only one outside of that would be, Baltimore. You're going to play Baltimore.
Yeah, but I don't know that Baltimore's better than them. I mean, maybe. I mean, they've been playing a little bit better recently. I don't know what the numbers look like. I'm about to look that up, but yeah, I mean, this is a good matchup for them.
Do you expect the same game out of Najee? Do you expect an opportunity for the same game out of Najee?
They absolutely have to try to run the ball. I mean, they have to. Now, do I think they're going to have as much success as they did last week? I don't know the answer to that. I hope so. I don't. I think that the Steelers, if they can just stay ahead of the chains, that's the important thing. You really can't keep, turning the ball over, or like 3 and outs and stuff like that for Burrow. You can't continue to give him chances. What they did last week too, and not to say the defense wasn't great last week, because I thought it was probably maybe that and the Tampa Bay game has been their 2 best games this season. like as a complete game, but they were able to shorten the possessions of the game. Like they controlled time of possession. They kept the defense off the field. They were consistently fresh. So I think that's the big part of it, is like being able to maintain the ball, no 3 and outs, things like that. But that's the thing. I mean, the Bengals have stopped the run pretty well this season, even without Reader, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, success rate, well, I don't know. They're 18th in success rate, so not too great.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
for the
not
Steelers.
Too great, but I know, Reader, it's kind of hard to look at those numbers without, your starting defensive tackle.
Yeah, very true, especially well rested off. A lot of people say like, oh, you got to shake the rust off. No, if you're a veteran coming off IR in the middle of the season, like you got way more oomph than most guys that are on the field at this point in the year. All right. Best time of the year or best time of the week. I think we were correct last week.
Hey, your boy's on a little bit of a heater. I think I've got.
Are we?
All right, I got a couple weeks in a row here.
A couple weeks. All right. So last year you said 17-16 Steelers, which you hit both. You hit both there. You hit both in Philly. You are a little bit of a heater.
Yeah,
here.
I'm a little bit of a heater. Watch out now.
Here.
Might go 3 in a row here.
What was Miami? What was the score in Miami?
I don't think I got Miami right. I don't know though.
27-20 Miami was your score. The over-under was 45. So you went over and the 7.5 spread. I don't know what it was.
I don't think. I don't know.
Let me look it up here. Are you watching this group chat? This group chat's had me distracted the whole time. I like, this is why people should go live on YouTube. The chat that we've had somebody calling you out for an hour now, which is cracking me up because everybody else is calling him out. 16-10. You didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it. All right. So you're looking for 3 in a row, but this is why everybody should go live on YouTube at least once a week, because I got heat for calling George Pickens a rookie, or saying he could beat a rookie because he could beat a rookie. And you're just getting hate for everybody.
Well, here's the deal. If you're that smart, you can go get your own YouTube channel, and then you can have 100 people watching you, and you can give your own takes, or you can stay in here. You can hang out with us. So you do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just come hang out. Like, I don't care. You can talk smack all day long.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do. We talk smack on people. People talk smack on us. All right. Steelers, Bengals at home. I think it's going to be, a prime AFC North matchup. They had to take it out of prime time, obviously, which is fine for everybody. I'm okay with that one. But they head into the weekend, 3.5-point dogs, which I think was 4, you said earlier today. So it's already dropping 3.5, 40.5-point over under, which could be looked at. I said before the show, I said, oh, that's the easiest over of the week. And you said, no, I think I'm taking the under. So the big question is, what do you got here?
Oh, man. I didn't really think about that. I kind of just shouted that out when you asked me. I didn't actually think about what I was going to guess.
You just know it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I'll take 40
20. I'll take 2017 Cincinnati, but the Steelers cover and the under.
Oh. The Steelers would not. They'd cover the over.
It's 3.5, right?
Yeah, you said 20. Oh,
2017.
Yeah. 20, not 27-17. Gotcha. All right, Steelers do cover there. You think Matt Wright's going to hit it? You think Matt Wright misses a game-winning field goal? A game-tying field goal?
I don't know, man. I think the Steelers might be cursed, man, when it comes to some of these kickers, man, that they bring in here. Matt Wright looked like – I'm sitting there watching that Kansas City game about a month ago or whatever when he was filling in, and you watch him drill like a 60-yarder, right through the pipes.
59 yards.
Yeah. And then he comes back here. None of those kicks, even the ones that went in last week, look good.
No, I mean, they were ridiculously bad kicks. Every single one of them they were spinning sideways and they barely went in. And then afterwards, Tomlin's like, well, the protection. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? He couldn't kick the football sideways. That was on him. Crazy. Especially after
he missed the one left or whatever by 15, 20 yards.
20 yards. I think somebody caught that one in the stands. They got a signature ball to go home. Yeah, that one didn't make any sense. Like, could you imagine being Nick Skiba sitting at home right now, just being like, "Are you kidding? You cut me for that guy? You cut me for? Are you kidding me right now?" And like, I think I felt bad because I talked to Matt Wright like Thursday or Friday or something, and I was like, "Yeah, man, like, what'd you do to get better?" And he was like amping me up, and I was like, "Wow, dude, like this kid's, he sounds so confident." And then he went out there, and I was just like, I got it right that he's garbage, and I feel bad because I felt I amped him up with him, and it's part of the job, I guess. All right, 20-17 off of I'm gonna put that narrative out there off of a Matthew Wright missed game tying field goal, possibly. Over under 40.5. I got to stick with my narrative that I think it's the easiest over under of the week. 30 or 3.5. Man, do I have the balls to this would switch it up. I don't know what our record is. I have to go through them after this one to see what our record is. But I think this could be at the end of the season to see who finished with the most games. I think I have to do it. I think I'm going Steelers in this one. I think I'm gonna ump the score just to get it over the 40.5, but not by much. I'm going 23-20 Steelers. Couple of Matthew Wright field goals here. Feeling real good on the over. I think the defense is going to be disgusting, and I would also put like a prop bet out there that I think that they're gonna score a touchdown. I think that somebody, if it's not Minka, somebody gets to the quarterback, or I could see DeMonte KZ scoring a touchdown and like Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium literally exploding because of how much energy would be in that building. But we'll see. I think this is it. This could be the catalyst of who comes out at the end of the season on top with the best record. I told you that I won my first bet in 4 months two nights ago. Won my second one last night and then lost. So that just means that I'm back in the rotation here. And this is going to be a win for us. So if they do win, that's me. If they don't win, that one's on Derek. Either way.
Hold on. I got there is a good question in the chat. Let me see this one. Brother, you're missing out. For one, it's Christian Gonzalez, not Anthony Gonzalez. You're thinking about the Colts receiver. But that is a good shout and a good question. Tune in to the Thursday edition of Steelers Draft Talk. We actually have already talked about Christian Gonzalez. So, yeah, Gonzalez, 6'2", legit track speed, fluid corner with excellent feet. Pretty good processor, showing off some ball skills. He had 2 picks against Colorado a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, I definitely think Gonzalez is going to be a corner that's going to go in the first round. A little bit up and down, but I think of late he's played pretty well from what I've been able to tell live. So he's definitely a guy that is going to be, generating a lot of buzz come draft time. I definitely think he's going to be a first-round caliber corner just based on his traits alone.
Word. Yes. I like the plug there. Definitely go check that. What's that? Every Thursday?
Every Thursday
morning. It'll be available midnight on all audio platforms. Steelers Draft Talk, all Steelers Draft Talk. Or no, just Steelers Draft Talk. I got 75 podcasts that we're running through a week these days. It just feels awesome. I've never talked so much in front of a camera and on anywhere to anyone as much as we've done the last 2 weeks and listened to podcasts. And, I was watching Barstool. I was watching a Barstool highlight today on YouTube that I just ran across, and I was like, yeah, we'll catch up. We're on our way. Don't you worry. Just straight Steelers coverage. Gotta love it. But all right, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Find us anywhere you get your audio podcasts. And of course, find all of mine and Derek's work at allsteelers.com. Enjoy the game. Remember, if they win, that's on me. Peace.